Are we good? We're good. Are you good?
Right, I'm good. Yeah.
All right. Welcome to Caffeinate and Advocate, the show where we sip coffee and talk all things mental health. I'm your host, Jess, back in Lackawanna County at the Northern Light Cafe. And today I'm joined by a colleague that I get to see every week, but don't get to see every week. So I'm joined today with Adam. Adam, what is your role here at Peerstar?
I am the mental health professional / quality auditor, where I look at a lot of the IRPs, well, just about all of the IRPs.
All of the IRPs.
All the longer notes, and I review them on a daily and a weekly basis. And I'm also a member of the extra support and transition teams, where we discuss some of the challenging peers and cases at the age.
Yeah, so Adam's role is a lot of our, like you said, quality, and we meet weekly, but it's always via Zoom. So it's so nice to actually be face-to-face to converse about things not related to paperwork and those types of things. So Adam, when I asked if you would be interested in Caffeinate and Advocate, you said that you were interested in talking about things like meditation. Oh, what else did you say?
Prayer, positive affirmations, things like that, and especially Kabbalah.
That's the one I'm really interested in because I'm not too familiar with that. So, just tell me? What are?
Okay, Kabbalah is an ancient wisdom that myth-wise, or maybe traditionally, depending on your faith system, was founded about the time of the patriarch Abraham, about 4,000 years ago.
Oh, so it's been around. It's been around.
And it was in secluded learning cloisters for many centuries, millennia, and not much was written down about it until around the 13th century in Spain. They found an actual book from a teacher that was almost 1,000 years old.
And what do you do in Kabbalah? What is the practice?
It's a lot of deep wisdom and lessons, a lot of based on the Torah or the Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
It's the spiritual side of it, the mythical side of it, the deep meaning of, like, from creation to, what's the purpose of life.
And so what are some, like, if you had to explain to me, who has no background in this whatsoever, what would a typical, if you were practicing this, what would, like, a typical thing you would do, and how do you use it for kind of wellness or recovery or just kind of that peaceful?
Right. Back in 1922, a rabbi known as Rav Ashlag founded the Kabbalah Center in Jerusalem, and it spread through the works of a couple of secondary teachers, really to around the world. There are like 50 centers around the world in the Kabbalah Center. They have hundreds of thousands of students, and generally anybody can learn it now. It used to be you had to be very knowledgeable about a lot of the scriptures, something called the Talmud you had to be learned in. You had to know a lot of the background of, the Bible and, the characters. And, a lot of it was, in Kabbalah, it's taken as symbolic. It's not actual events that generally occurred. Some of them might have actually occurred, but they had deeper meanings to them. And then, about living a more, calmer life and more relaxed. It helped me a lot in my recovery.
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, what have you found the outcome to be? But so that serenity, that peace, and like you said, kind of a calming. And I think, oh my gosh, in this day and age, everything is so fast paced and just so convoluted with information and energy. Like, we could all probably use a little bit of calm and peace.
Yeah, and it's what I like about the center too, though, is if you can't afford, classes, there's a lot of scholarship money. If you're really interested in it, you can, just go to Kabbalah.com.
And so then you said with Kabbalah, then also there was meditation is something that you found to be really beneficial? What are some of the like practical strategies in meditation that you like to tell other people about?
Yeah, a lot of it is guided meditation. They have instructors that have done it, for decades.
Yeah.
That, it's a little like yoga, in a sense, where you get very comfortable in a position and you almost like zone out, but, you direct your mind towards, positive outcomes, even communicating with loved ones, in your mind,
Yeah,
and be able to give messages.
I actually
Receive them.
will share it. I had an instructor, a professor in college, and he did an extra credit thing you could do was he had like a wellness center, and you could do guided imagery with him. And I remember the first few times I went, I just took really nice naps. I would go and I would fall asleep. But then one time, literally, I thought I was asleep, and I started to kind of shake, and I actually started to cry. Like the guided imagery we were going through was so real, and it was connecting me to, it was an amazing experience. It was connecting me to a family member that had passed, but then also a family member that was still much alive and very involved in my life.
The main concept of Kabbalah actually is a tikkun, that we're here on earth to correct ourselves, to make ourselves perfect in the long run. But they believe in the concept of reincarnation. Yeah. That in previous lives, if you had unfinished business, the creator and, the whole system of, angels and whatever's behind, this life, guides you towards lessons to try to correct things, to make yourself, a better person, more like God.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in recovery talk about their turning point was some form of a spiritual practice, some connecting to some form of spirituality, not even specifically religion, but some form of spirituality, and how that connection was really, really a turning point. And it sounds like, my perception is it sounds like Kabbalah and meditation are really helping connect to that type of like inner peace or connection.
Very much so. And the background of the students and the teachers there are not, just Jewish. They're Christian, of all different denominations. There's Hindu, there's Buddhist, there's Islam religion, and different sects of religion. Yeah. There. And you kind of come together as human beings.
Right. And I'm sure you get to learn from each other too.
You do.
Which is neat. Well, I can always talk forever. We all know that. I can talk forever. But we're going to do some coffee can questions. So Adam, I know you are a little familiar with this because you were around when I was telling other people about it. How about pick out a question? If you don't like it, you are allowed to return it and pick out another one. But pick out a question and we're both going to answer it as I continue to sip my coffee.
I believe everything happens for a reason, so the first one I pick is the one I'm intended to pick.
And I'm just a go with the flow person, so I can usually go with the first one.
What is a question you have about mental health?
Oh, these ones are tough when we're talking to, I think that's a tough question when you're talking to people who've worked in this field for quite a while, because we can sometimes think we know everything, but we should all still have questions. Is there one you can think of?
One question I have is, in different cultures, how much is mental health, a major concern, or something that's part of the medical system? Are there cultures out there in the world that sort of have mental health, but, do they call it something else, or do they see it more of a holistic process? That I'd be interested in.
That's a really, I kind of want to steal that one because that's a really good question. I can't remember the community, but I remember reading somewhere that there is a community, a culture somewhere in the world that does not have a word for depression because they don't need a word for depression. And they still have all those human feelings of sadness and happiness and everything, but they just don't have a need to label the feelings of depression because they don't experience it. Well, Adam, before we go, I just always like to give everyone an opportunity. Is there anything that you would share to someone about, seeking some type of self-care or some type of holistic regimen?
Yeah, I think it's important, at least I've always found that starting your day and ending your day like on a positive note is also very helpful. Sometimes when you're really into a deep funk or depression, or you're really upset with life, and you're overwhelmed, sometimes, like, tapping into your deeper part of yourself, I think, is more of tapping into almost the divine nature in ourselves, could really be calming, and could be positive and help you progress in your recovery.
Awesome. Well, I'll tell you, one of my favorite ways to connect is with coffee. And that's either with people or honestly just finding the positive, starting my day with a cup and ending my day with a cup. It just kind of, literally warms my soul. Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining me. It was so nice to see you in person. You do have to end with a cheers. It's the roll. Cheers. Until next time.